Hi everyone, it's Jonathan Gitlin from Ars Technica here, and today we are filming with McLaren's lovely new 650S Spider. This is a car I've been particularly interested to get our hands on for a while now. It's a mid-engined twin-turbo V8 carbon fiber supercar, and what a car it is. So some interesting things about this car. The car has an entire carbon fiber shell. The bodywork is all carbon fiber. McLaren used resin transfer molding to make it, which is where they inject the stuff into a mold and then it takes about 4 hours, as opposed to sort of hand laying pre-preg, which is this stuff here that has this beautiful weave that looks really nice, that the interior is covered in and looks spectacular. Obviously it's a Spider. It has a roof that comes up and down. It has lots of scoops and grills for cooling. There's big radiators in here and in there and in the back and in the front, the diff and the front axle and the rest of it. We spent the morning driving around downtown DC, not really the most natural environment for a mid-engine supercar. I think it's handled it okay. McLaren have their attitude to suspension damping. They don't make cars ridiculously firm. So even though it's a sports car, the springs aren't horribly stiff. It doesn't jar your back. I don't feel like I need new fillings. It rides over the broken, crappy roads that we have here in DC quite well. In automatic mode, and if you set everything to normal, honestly the way the throttle mapping works is you have quite a lot of play in the throttle. You know, you're not going to accidentally rear end someone because, you know, you sneeze and you're instantly doing 50 miles an hour. It's quite manageable. With the lift kit that raises the nose up so you can get over speed bumps or into parking garages, I think it's about as practical as a mid-engine supercar really gets. Visibility from the front is fantastic. From the back, it's not amazing. Better than the Lamborghini we drove recently, but certainly the view from the front, McLaren have pulled the A-pillars very far to the sides. So when you're sitting in the cockpit and you're looking straight ahead, you just have this marvelous panoramic view. Flappy paddle gearbox, obviously. McLaren use a dual clutch gearbox, as everyone else really does these days. They stop you from blowing engines. They're good for emissions. McLaren's logo here, which is this little thing that looks like a Nike swoosh, in fact, is a stylized kiwi bird. McLaren was founded by a guy called Bruce McLaren, who was a racing driver in the 50s, who came over to England from New Zealand. Kiwi, obviously, is New Zealand's national bird. Reappears a bunch of places in the car. The shape of the headlights. We've got one here, we've got another one here, the shape of the grills, there's some in the back. $680 option on this car is for soft closing doors. What it should actually be for is hard opening doors, because there's a little rubber nipple there that you have to hit just right, and then they open. Driver's display. Unlike the Lamborghini we drove recently, it's not one big TFT screen. You're basically dominated by this large central rev counter that redlines at about 8,500. Either side of the big rev counter, you've got two little screens. One will show you your trip computer. You can scroll through the multi-function display. There's a little knob or a little lever down here. I have to say it's not the most intuitive thing to use. Steering wheel is great. Rim is perfect. It's the right width. It's small. It's not too fat. Some beautiful carbon fiber detailing on it. There's not a single button on this wheel. We look in the central panel here. We've got our really annoying electronic handbrake. Manufacturers, I wish you would just give us old-fashioned ones that do that, because these buttons, they're confusing. Little dials to change the suspension from normal to street or to sport to track. You can change the engine mapping from normal to sport to track. There's active aero. There's a winter mode. McLaren's entertainment system is called Iris. When it first launched, it was a bit of a fiasco. Now it's not too bad. I have to say I kind of like the UI. You control it with, there's a jog wheel here, there's a touch screen. It's not really angled terribly well for the driver. If you have the roof down and it's a sunny day, it can be hard to see what's going on. Particularly with the map, I think, I'm not sure how great you can see it. Although the fact that it's portrait rather than landscape, I think is interesting. Connects well to, you know, your phone via Bluetooth. There's also, in the tiny little cubby here, there is a USB port and also a line in, which is nice of them. There's no glove box. Yes, you heard me, there is no glove box in this car. Interior space is not amazing. Big plus point about this car, compared to the Lamborghini we drove recently and even the R8, has an absolutely enormous trunk. It swallowed all of our video gear, our backpacks, tripods, the rest of it. You could easily squeeze Ron Amadeo into the trunk and drive off with him in here. I think that would be no problem. This is one of my favorite things about this car. This is the manual. Comes in this beautiful little leather pouch. The inside is McLaren orange. Nice bound hardback book.